So I was stuck in the one place in the country that I probably didn't want to be as a supporter of liberty and the campaign for liberty.
And just to, before we open it up to the rest of our guests, just to explain now what you felt the government didn't have the power to force you to explain, what was that cash? How did you get it, and what were you doing with it?
All right, well, I'll tell you, Judge Napolitano, but don't tell Missouri law enforcement on me. I was working for Campaign for Liberty. We were in town for our first regional conference in St. Louis, and the cash was simply book sales, ticket sales, merchandise, T-shirts, and I had it in a box, and I was trying to take it back to Virginia, and that's really all it was. And my main question for law enforcement was simply, sir, am I required by law to answer your question? Please advise me as to my rights.
I don't think it's a surprise that people who attend Campaign for Liberty rallies are more likely to pay in cash than your average American.
All right, because as Bill Sapphire used to say, cash is privacy, right. Cash is freedom. But are you surprised that they arrested him because he wasn't free to leave, threatened to bring in the Drug Enforcement Administration, I don't know what they would have to do with it, and the FBI, because he declined to explain to them, because they couldn't tell him what their authority to ask for it was, the origin of that cash?
I mean, it's one step to say you can't fly on this plane. It's a far more evil step to say we are going to use force to detain you. But we never heard what happened when he went to the police station.
Well, he eventually, a plainclothes guy, because I listened to the whole tape, the clip we ran was just about 1 minute and 10 seconds. This goes for 25 minutes. As they're about to take him out of this room and march him through the airport and bring him, quote, downtown to the DIA office, suddenly some plainclothes person appears who identifies himself as an FBI agent, whispers in the ear of these 5 uniformed, armed, badge-wearing guys, and suddenly they say, you're free to go. And he makes the plane. So they never found out the origin of the cash. They never counted the cash. They never took the cash from him, and he made the plane. Are you surprised that the government is doing things like this today?
What did we say?
I mean, look, can we put his picture up on the screen again? Is Steve still back with us?
He looks guilty today.
He looks like butter wouldn't melt in his mouth. Is that the face of a terrorist, that they had to know where that cash came from?
Again, we're turning into what I said, when you have government-controlled capitalism, it's turning more into fascism. And I want to ask you, Judge, was he in his rights to do what he did? Did he have to answer those questions? What were his obligations?
He did not have to answer those questions because the presence of cash, the possession of cash, is not one of the items that automatically eliminates you from getting on the plane. As John Stossel said, it's one thing for them to make sure you don't have a gun or a bomb in your pocket. It's another thing for them to not like a book or not like the papers that you have.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go wild.
I'm sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322. You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us?
Not much, because it's a secret.
Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code?
I wish there were something secret I could manifest.
322, a secret number?
There are all kinds of secrets, Tim, but one thing is not a secret. I disagree with this president's direction that he's taking the country. We can do a better job, and I intend to do it.
And we'll be watching. Be safe on the campaign trail. John Kerry, thanks for joining us. And we'll be right back.
Senator Clinton, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Can I ask you a quick question while you sign that? It was reported in June of 2006 you attended a meeting in Ottawa, Canada, the Bilderberg Group. Can you comment on that? What's going on for the Bilderberg meeting, and what do you guys talk about up there?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do. I was reported you were up there, and people saw you up there. I just want to know what you guys talk about and meet about up there.
Sir, I don't know.
Why are they such top secret meetings?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Your husband went to a Bilderberg meeting too. I'm just wondering. I'm not being rude or anything.
No,
I just want to know what happens at these meetings.
Well, since I wasn't there, I have no idea.
Okay, thank you, Senator.
Thank you. How are you? There you go.
Thank you very much.
Listen, I am a happy member of the Bohemian Grove. I like the folks who come there, and it's really inappropriate for me to talk about the group beyond that. Thank you.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about.
Right.
official member. I've spoken there before.
You were both in Skull and Bones, the secret society.
It's so secret we can't talk about it.
What does that mean for America? The conspiracy theorists are going to go
I'm
wild.
sure they are. I don't know. I haven't seen the web.
Number 322. You both were members of Skull and Bones, a secret society at Yale. What does that tell us?
Not much, because it's a secret.
Is there a secret handshake? Is there a secret code?
I wish there were something secret I could manifest.
322, secret number?
There are all kinds of secrets, Tim, but one thing is not a secret. I disagree with this president's direction that he's taking the country. We can do a better job, and I intend to do it.
And we'll be watching. Be safe on the campaign trail. John Kerry, thanks for joining us. And we'll be right back.
The ultimate goal that these people have in mind is the goal to create a one-world government run by the banking industry, run by the bankers, and they're doing it in sections. The European currency, the euro, and the European Constitution is one part of it. Now they're trying to do it in America with the North American Union.
Then I went to technical services, where I was in charge of finding documents that you don't find in libraries, like where you put explosives on a bridge. Where's the best place to put an explosive on a bridge, and what kind of explosive do you have to get that goes underwater without destroying its effectiveness. Also, I had to find, one time they wanted me to find out if there was such a thing as a poison that was undetectable, especially one that seemed to mimic a heart attack, that would kill someone, but it would appear that they had a heart attack. I did find such a thing.
Does this pistol fire the dart?
Yes, it does, Mr. Chairman, and a special one was developed which potentially would be able to enter the target without perception.
The poison was frozen into some sort of dart, and then it was shot at very high speed into the person, so when it reached the person it would melt inside them, and the only thing would be like one little tiny red dot on their body, which was hard to detect. There wouldn't be a needle left or anything like that in the person.
But also the toxin itself would not appear in the autopsy?
Yes, so that there was no way of perceiving that the target was him.
I think the first time that I seriously questioned anything that was more than, I just couldn't take it anymore, was when I came across this document. It was eyes only, and it was to my boss, but he only had one hand and a hook in the other hand, so I always opened all of his mail and his packages and so forth. And this one, he wasn't in the office. I opened it and I read it. It said eyes only. I wanted to read it because I wasn't supposed to, probably. And it was a report about a mission where they had blown up a bridge in Asia somewhere, and they had killed a number of women and children who were on their way to market that morning. It was reported as though they were really proud, mission accomplished. That one bothered me a lot. When my boss came in, I gave him his mail and I mentioned this, and I said, "This is wrong. These women hadn't done anything. These children didn't deserve to die. Why did we do that?" And he said, that's the fortunes of war. And I said, "But we're not at war. We're certainly not at war in that country. Why did we do that? I don't understand it." And he said, "Well, you're very young. When you get older, you'll understand those things."